Alright, hello you crazy people out there, this is Dragonite, and welcome back to another Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire XYZ online battle. That was a little bit more elegant than my past intros for these videos. Anyway, this is going to be Aggron versus Cake the Slowbro. And this is another battle against Jenny, who I apparently have more battles against than I'm remembering. Anyway, Aggron is going to go Mega, and Aggron is going to lose the partial rock typing, which is unfortunate because I would like to be using like water type moves on it. But it's going to, it's also going to pick up the filter ability, which is doubly unfortunate because that makes it take less damage from super effective hits. Anyway, you're going to go and throw out some Stealth Rocks, which ordinarily would probably be an issue for me had I been running things like Swellow and Dragonite like I usually like to run. That is a Scald that did not do all that much damage. But on this team, if I saw the team preview correctly, I have more like slow Pokemon who aren't weak to rock, which is probably good because you just throw out some Stealth Rocks. Anyway, so Flamethrower did about half. Had I used Flamethrower from the start, predicting a Mega Evolution, I might have been able to take this thing down in one hit, which would have been nice. Anyway, the Toxic is going to take a couple turns to start doing damage to me, and Earthquake didn't do very much damage at all, which is pretty nice, but another Scald is going to go and take that Aggron down, so I'm assuming that she did not need the Mega Aggron for anything besides setting up the Stealth Rocks, which is why she just kind of sacked it off at the end there. Which, with that being said, you could have done that with a regular Aggron with the Sturdy ability, and given the Mega Stone to somebody else. But anyway, Hug Me is going to come in place of Slowbro to face the Alakazam, and Hug Me is going to take very small amounts of damage from that Stealth Rock, and a Shadow Ball is going to come on, and it's going to do, what was that, about maybe a third, a fourth? Not very much damage. But unfortunately, this thing is also packing a Focus Blast, and even more unfortunately, Focus Blast actually hits, meaning that I basically just wasted a Ferrothorn, which is a Pokemon who I definitely like to use, and didn't get to do here. Anyway, Poison Stones are going to dig into Tongue-Tied, and Tongue-Tied is going to come in and face an Azumarill, and Tongue-Tied is going to use Dark Pulse on the Azumarill. I probably should have seen a switch out coming. I'm not one who's usually in the habit of actually checking team previews when it comes that time to like select your Pokemon and see your other Pokemon enemy's team while battling, and had I done that, I probably might have remembered that you have an Azumarill and that you probably would be switching out to that, facing a Dark type. But anyway, so in comes Mega Slowbro again, and the Mega Slowbro takes a lot of damage from a Play Rough, and takes a little bit of damage from Poison, but in the end it's the Poison that's just barely enough to take it down. So I've basically sacked off yet another Pokemon there. Birdie Bot is going to come in, and Birdie Bot is going to take another Play Rough right to the face, probably not very nicely. And I barely hang on there. With a couple HP, I'm going to go and use Trick Room, which probably also isn't all that useful for me, because most Azumarill these days carry Aqua Jet. And Aqua Jet will bypass the fact that Trick Room is in effect. And apparently this thing does not have Trick Room, does not have Aqua Jet, rather. This thing does not have Aqua Jet, which is definitely good for me, even though, ooh, cool, Play Rough missed that time, even though, I'm not able to take it down. Yeah, so I'm gonna get a second chance here and get not only that, but a little bit more of HP back. And she's gonna withdraw and send out, however you pronounce that. Oh, it's a Flagon, alright. So Birdie Bot is gonna use a Shadow Ball, predicting a switch out to something else. And Shadow Ball, had that been a Psychic instead, which is a little stronger and gets same type attack bonus, I might have been able to 2K this thing. But unfortunately, I'm going to go and use a Psychic, and it's looking like, ooh, okay, so that's nice. Psychic went and took it down. I was not expecting that to happen. I guess the same type attack bonus was just barely enough to make up for the fact that Shadow Ball did a little bit less than half. Anyway, Azumarill is going to come in, and now I'm suspecting that this thing is banded. Not like my mindset during the battle, but I'm suspecting as I narrate this that thing was banded, which is why it wasn't able to switch moves and had to rely on Play Rough. Anyway, the Twisted Dimensions returns to normal, which is a shame. But for better or for worse, you're probably going to be forced to switch out into something else because you're now banded into Aqua Jet against a Snorlax, which is not really optimal, because Snorlax, while its special defense is much better than its physical defense, Snorlax does have a lot of HP. Anyway, that is going to be a curse, and that's going to raise my physical defense to compensate a little bit for it being, like, base pretty bad. And I'm also going to get some HP back from the leftovers there, which is nice. And Jenny is going to withdraw Azumarill. And what are you going to send in? This is a low block. Oh, okay, so that's a Blaziken. Anyway, so a Body Slam should be doing a sizable amount of damage to the Blaziken. What with the curse and same type attack bonus and the critical hit that I just scored there and everything. Which is pretty nice. And I'm also going to be going and getting some more HP recovery from that, so that'll be a little bit more safety net against a, what did you have earlier, an Azumarill? Anyway, Focus Blast comes in from the Alakazam, and Focus Blast misses, which is very lucky, because I know that I probably might have survived a Focus Blast from an Alakazam, because again, Snorlax's special defense is pretty good, but it definitely helps to not take that damage when you can avoid it. Go and use Crunch, KO the Alakazam, recover yet more HP from the leftovers, and Azumarill is going to come back in. Now, the question here is what you have. I don't know why you used Aqua Jet. I don't know if that was a misclick or something like that, but it didn't do a whole lot of damage, thanks to the Curse raising my defense, and a Body Slam is able to go and take the Azumarill down. And you have one Pokemon remaining, don't you? I think you have one Pokemon remaining. The leftovers is not quite going to put me back into the green rather. I'm still in the yellow. And that is a Shiftry, and Shiftry is just going to go boom. And how much damage is this going to do? Because it might do less than I'm expecting, because, okay, so I survived the explosion. Because, thanks to that curse that I set up at the beginning, survived with not very many HP, Shiftry goes down, that's a self-KO, although it didn't really matter because Snorlax didn't die. And, I win, good game. I made a number of mistakes in the beginning of that battle, but I was able to recover from them. I'm not quite sure if Jenny was also making mistakes in the beginning of that battle, or towards the end of that battle, or whatever. But nevertheless, put it in the books. I hope you all enjoyed that. My name is Dragonite, and I will see you all later.